Hey y'all, and happy Fun Friday. So we're still feeling a little under the weather, but we are here. We're gonna keep it pushing regardless. So I'm back with another article, and I want to know at the top of the show, do you know what gaslighting is? And who do you think is most susceptible to gaslighting if you do know what it is? There are two kinds of people that are more likely to get tricked by a gaslighter. So, first off, what's a gaslighter or what is gaslighting? Because we talk about it a lot. We overuse the word. It's another buzzword. Narcissism is one of them, and gaslighting is another one of them. And just like with narcissism, we overuse these words and we don't use them in the right places. Someone could manipulate somebody and someone's going to be like, oh, you're gaslighting me, without even really knowing what it is. So gaslighting is a pop psychology term for a toxic relationship dynamic when someone manipulates another into believing that their experience is crazy or false. This definition was given by Dr. Brian Tierney, PhD. So, someone's making you question your reality. Say, for example, your partner told you Monday that Tuesday we're going on a date. Tuesday rolls around, you say, hey, where are we going on our date? What time? Give me the details. They say to you, I never said that. You go, yeah, you did. I remember yesterday you told me that we were going to dinner. I never said that. And then they're just going to keep along with that lie that they never said that, knowing in the back of their head they definitely did say that. The whole point is to make you question your reality. Because if they did do it and you start to believe that they didn't because they're telling you that they didn't, now you're starting to think, I must be crazy because I swear we had that convo. I just got gaslit the other day by my own father. We were having a conversation, and in that conversation he said to me, your brothers are 2 years apart. My brothers are a year apart. I sat there and questioned my whole life for 30 minutes at that point to ask them, yo, are y'all 2 years apart or 1 year apart? Now, my dad did not intentionally gaslight me, but he did make me question my reality by telling me something that was not true. So, there's that. And if a person accidentally gives you wrong information, it's not really gaslighting. He did not actually gaslight me. He was wrong about something that I knew I was right about, but it made me question my reality when he said, no, that's not what it is. Especially due to the fact that being my dad, the power dynamic is different. You got to understand the power dynamic you have with somebody. Does he have power over me genuinely? No. I'm 23 years old. I could do whatever I want to do. But this is the man that raised me and made me who I am today. So that power dynamic matters. And power dynamics matter a lot when someone's trying to gaslight. So somebody that your teacher, your parent, your community leaders, your politicians, all these, when they gaslight, it's very damaging because it's gonna, just because of their authority, just because of the authority that they carry, you're already going to believe them more than you might believe other people. I just went off on a whole different tangent, but yeah, that's that. So, Dr. Brian goes on to say, the gaslighter hides in faux innocence as they systematically attempt to convince another person that they are the source of the problem. And if it works well, then the gaslit person will be left doubting their sense of self and sanity. So, that first example that I gave you, because the second one I gave you was not a real example of gaslighting. I'm just messing around. I told him he gaslit me, but it was unintentional. The first one I gave y'all, the example where your boyfriend told you Monday that we're going on a date on Tuesday, and then Tuesday comes around and he tells you that I never said that. That, like I said, makes you question your sanity. Because if you didn't record that conversation, if y'all did not have it over text message, there's no proof that he did say that. And there's no proof that he didn't. So if you don't have receipts, you can more easily get gaslit. Because you can't go back in time and have recorded that or know for a fact that what you're saying is true. So anyway, I'm going off on a whole tangent. We're going to get back to the actual point. Let's talk about the second part of the question. What two groups of people are most susceptible to gaslighting, in y'all's opinion? And then I'm about to tell you what the article says. My number one is an empathic person, but that's my opinion. This article goes on to tell us about how. The article says that it's people with low self-esteem and a history of trauma. Those are the two groups of people that are most susceptible to a gaslighter or to gaslighting. It makes sense because these two groups are not known to be assertive, nor do they trust their own judgment well enough to definitively say, no, my reality is exactly as I remember it, and you're attempting to manipulate me. That's what it comes down to with gaslighters. You're trying to make me question my reality so that way I'm more subservient to you. If I'm insecure, say I'm a beautiful woman, but in my mind, I don't feel that way. I feel as though I'm ugly. I feel as though the world won't accept me. I feel as though I'm not good enough. And a person that's trying to distort my reality, which has already been distorted in my mind, because like I said, if I'm a beautiful woman and I believe that I'm ugly, I've already got some distortion going on in my head. So if you come over and you try to distort my thought process in the way I think, you're going to be more able to do so. I'm more vulnerable to that. And people with a history of trauma. So if I have gone through being gaslit my whole life, or say I've been abused, I might not think too highly of myself, because a lot of us, when we get abused or we go through trauma, we start to blame ourselves for it. Well, why would I go through this? Why would I allow this to happen to me? How could I possibly allow this to mess with my brain? And all these other thoughts that we have when we go through trauma. So again, I'm at a vulnerable state. If a person comes in and their point is to manipulate me, malign me, and gaslight, they're going to be able to do so a lot easier than somebody that has not experienced that before. Because trauma also makes us downplay the severity of things. So if I've been abused, me being gaslit is nothing. So I'm going to downplay it if I am being gaslit anyway. Oh, it's not that bad. It's not that. Or I might say, oh, well, maybe they didn't realize what they were doing. Or maybe there's this, that, or the third. Or maybe they have a trauma that's making them do it. So I'm going to justify that and allow a gaslighter around me after I realize they gaslit. Understanding your risk for gaslighting is essential, especially if you or someone you love falls into these two categories. You got to protect yourself. If you're in those two groups, you have to protect yourself so you can avoid continuously being in a position to be in pain. Because gaslighting really messes with your brain. It messes with your brain chemistry over time if it continues to happen. Not understanding your own reality is a huge issue. So by identifying these vulnerable groups, we can create targeted strategies to offer support, raise awareness, and foster environments that enhance resilience and self-understanding, Dr. Noble says. Additionally, informing potential victims about the signs of gaslighting equips them to identify and combat manipulation. So like I said, protect yourself. We have to protect ourselves. No one else is going to do so. When we're adults, there's no one else that's going to protect us from gaslighting, manipulation, and abuse. We have to be able to do it ourselves. And it's not easy. But when you have these tools readily available in your toolbox, it's easier to at least start to figure out how to combat this type of stuff. So I kind of discussed it a moment ago, but why would having a low self-esteem put you in a better position to be gaslit? The article says People with low self-esteem lack confidence in their own worth and abilities, making them more prone to manipulation. If I don't believe that if I think I ain't shit, you could easily make me believe I ain't shit. I'm already there. You giving me evidence, it's just going to get me there further. They tend to seek validation from others. So if I'm seeking validation and you're a gaslighter and you're going to gaslight me into thinking that I'm less than what I am, that validation being negative, I'm going to think negatively of myself. I'm not going to think, because really all it shows is that person, where they're at. But it makes you feel as a victim that it's really showing where you're at. Let's see. It can be exploited by a gaslighter who undermines their self-confidence and makes them doubt their perceptions. Another psychologist goes on to say something similar. Individuals with low self-esteem do not view themselves in a positive light. Like I said, if I don't look at myself positively and you tell me you ain't shit, I'ma believe you. See, they also downplay their strengths and they are overly critical of themselves. When someone gaslights them, they are more likely to believe that individual. They are also more likely to doubt their reality due to their low self-esteem. What about people with trauma? Why are they more susceptible? I discussed it, but they have their own idea of why. So unfortunately, people with trauma already have enough to deal with, but manipulators don't care. So you have to protect yourself from them to avoid even more trauma. Trauma can lead to long-lasting effects on a person's mental health, including increased anxiety, fear, and difficulty trusting their judgment. So just like with the low self-esteem, you don't trust your own judgment. You're relying on others for validation. And if they don't give you positive validation, your brain's going to spiral into the wrong realm. These traits make them more vulnerable to gaslighters who can manipulate their already fragile sense of reality by reinforcing feelings of confusion and self-doubt. This manipulation can deepen the trauma, creating a cycle of dependency and further diminishing their sense of self. Y'all remember my trauma bonds video? Gaslighting is a huge part of the trauma bond. I'm relying on you to keep lying to me, basically. Because you've gaslit me so far that now I believe the reality that you're selling to me. So when a person just can't seem to leave a gaslighter alone, you may not realize, though you may not realize it and they might not realize it, that trauma makes them feel closer to the gaslighter. They also begin to believe the gaslighter's truth to the point that they feel they could trust them even more than themselves. That's my take on it, but I believe that it's pretty accurate. How does someone in this position protect themselves? First things first, knowledge is power. With everything. That is why I get on here every week to talk to y'all and tell y'all about stuff. I'm not doing it just for me. Even though I feel fulfilled talking about this stuff, I'm doing this because I know that there's a lot of information that I have or that I gain on a daily basis that if others had it, they might be able to survive better. I just got out of a toxic situation that empowered me to understand just how much knowledge is power. I looked up what I was dealing with every day to finally come to terms with it. So when I tell y'all knowledge is power, knowledge is power. The more that you know, the more you can get through. So Dr. Noble says it's crucial to gain a solid understanding of what gaslighting entails. By learning about manipulation tactics and identifying their signs, you can more easily spot when someone is trying to distort your sense of reality. This awareness empowers you to stand firm and protect your perception, reducing the feeling of vulnerability. Both of those groups are vulnerable. We want to decrease vulnerability as much as possible. We don't want to leave ourselves available for the evil people in the world to come and do what they want to do. Because as soon as they think that they could do their bidding with you, they're going to try to do it. If they have a not so good or not so nice soul on the inside. So you got to have a good support system and talk to someone you can trust about the situation. An outsider's point of view can bring clarity, especially if a person you trust has been through something similar. So if you know somebody that's been, manipulated in their lifetime at some point or another, been in a difficult situation with a partner or a parent or something. And honestly, I hate to say it, like, it saddens me and bothers me to break this to y'all, but unfortunately most of us have experienced one or the other. Whether you've experienced trauma or you have been insecure in your life, there's so many more of us than you might realize that have been through that. We just don't really wear it like a badge of honor. And there are also so many people that have been through traumatic and abusive and manipulative situations that can offer you a sound um advice base for dealing with these types of people. And even if a person hasn't been through this, just break down the situation to them. Say, hey, I feel like this person is not being truthful, or I feel like I do recall this happening, and they're telling me it didn't, so I'm starting to feel crazy. And if this happens all the time, like if you're like starting to get used to them saying stuff and then telling you they never said it, they're probably gaslighting you. Honestly, they are probably gaslighting you. So yes, talk to somebody else, get clarity. Don't hide this stuff. When females get abused, we are so quick, because of the shit that I see on the internet is exactly why we don't talk about it. When females get abused, they are bombarded with you're lying about it and kind of judgment. Why did you stay? Why did you you're at fault. Take accountability, blah 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 blah. So we don't want to talk about it when we go through abusive situations because we don't want to get attacked. No one wants to be kicked while they're down. If I'm being abused and I'm coming to you about it, and then you're asking me, why are you still dealing with that? Da 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 da. And you start coming down my throat, I don't want to talk about it anymore. Find somebody you can trust that you're willing to talk about it with, that's willing to hear you out and actually give you sound advice. Not just that person that's always like, why are you still dealing with this? Leave it alone. Just leave them alone. It's not that easy. I just told y'all about why gaslighters are more easily able to get people to stick to them. Because if I'm already vulnerable and you're making me feel safe, but you're a liar and everything you're doing is to manipulate, and I don't see that, you're going to get what you want out of me. And being that friend that sits there and says, well, just leave it alone. Come on. Okay? Obviously, that's not an option in this moment. If just leaving it alone was an option, then I probably would have done it and wouldn't be talking to you about it. Have somebody you can trust. Have somebody you can talk to about it. And somebody that's going to be honest with you. And if what needs to be done is for you to leave, fair. But they got to be honest with you about everything. Boom, this person's a gaslighter. Boom, this person's a manipulator. Boom, 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 boom. Give me evidence. Don't just sit here and tell me to leave. That's not helpful. Dr. Lyra de la Rosa, I believe that is a Hispanic last name, which I love. I love it. Since you may not trust your own intuition when someone gaslights you, it may be helpful to check things out with a trusted friend or colleague. They can offer you their perspective that may be more objective and help you recognize the ways that someone is or may be gaslighting you. Dr. Tyranny suggests looking for a therapist who provides assertiveness training. It might not be called assertiveness training, but a therapist that's going to help you to stand in your truth. A therapist or a friend that's going to help you to stand in your truth. Somebody that's going to, like I said in the beginning there, say some stuff like, someone that's going to train you to say things like this. No, my reality is exactly as I remember it, and you are attempting to manipulate me. And here's my proof. Many therapists work with assertiveness, though they may not call their therapy assertiveness training. Shop around for therapists. Give yourself permission to say no. When you're trying to find a therapist, it's okay to say, I don't like this. I want another therapist. I want to try somebody else. You're not hurting their feelings. Even if they're initially like, aw, dang, I wanted to work with you. Don't If they're unprofessional about it, you already know you don't need to be going to her or him. Okay, there are unprofessional therapists. I've experienced it before where I've told a therapist, like, this just isn't working for me, and they just, like, they felt some type of way, and they made it clear. Don't even worry about that. No therapist should be unprofessional with you. That is a humongous red flag. If you tell your therapist, look, this is just not working out for me, you don't even have to go into detail. You could just say, this is not working out for me. Unless you're, like, court ordered to go to therapy, you're allowed to take your time to find another therapist. You're allowed to, and even if you're in court ordered therapy, they're probably going to allow you to find another therapist. You just have to continue to go while you find that therapist. So again, don't ever feel pressure to stay with a therapist, and don't give therapy a bad name because one person does not give you the help that you need. Okay? I am a huge proponent of therapy, but I'm also someone that experienced bad therapy at once in my life that made me never want to do therapy again. And I had to wake up and realize, just like in every profession and everything we do in life, there are people that are good at their jobs and there are people that just are not. And there are people that are good at their jobs that are just not for me. And you can say that. That's okay. That does not mean that therapy is not worth it. And when it comes to being gaslit and manipulated, therapy is extremely worth it. From my personal experience, extremely worth it. To be able to go in somewhere, tell somebody everything that's going on, and then genuinely, honestly, be able to figure it out for yourself. Hey, this isn't right. I gotta leave. That's so empowering. It's gonna help you get away from being gaslit and manipulated very, very effectively. Keep receipts, y'all. Keep the receipts, like I was saying earlier. If a gaslighter is texting you, keep it in your phone. Screenshot stuff. Don't ever delete the conversation. Make it so that way the conversation cannot be deleted. Back it up to your iCloud. Do whatever you gotta do. Keep receipts. Keep timestamps. Keep timestamps. Keep proof. Keep proof of everything and every interaction that happens. Because unfortunately, it be even the smallest interactions. It could be as simple as, honey, did you take the dog out? Yes, I took the dog out. I get home, there's shit on the floor. Didn't you say you took the dog out? I never said I took the dog out. Screenshot. I asked you at 8 a.m. this morning, did you take the dog out? At 8:02 a.m. this morning, you said I did. So again, I'm going to ask you, did you take the dog out this morning? Yes or no? They can't lie now. You know what I mean? They could try to keep gaslighting you, but so you didn't type that message? Who did? Who had your phone? Stop playing with me. Like, come on now. Eventually it gets to a point where they realize they just can't lie anymore. And eventually they're going to get to a point where they just don't want to try anymore. Because gaslighters and manipulators, they want to take the easiest route possible. They don't want to have to do the most to manipulate you. They want it to be easy. The harder you make it for them, the less they're going to try to manipulate you. But you have to make it hard the right way. You can't make it hard because you get emotional or because you do this X, Y, or Z, because they're going to feed off that. See, I'm the type that when someone makes me mad, I delete the messages. I don't want to stress myself out with rereading the situation. In a situation with a gaslighter, though, you want as much proof as possible. They love to say, well, I didn't say that, or you said X, Y, and Z. When you have the irrefutable proof, it knocks the wind out of their sails. It shows them you won't allow them to continue to attempt to manipulate you because you have proof. They may still try, but over time, they'll grow tired of attempting to do so because it's not effective on you. And I'm not going to keep wasting my time trying to manipulate you when there's 7 billion other people in the world, and one of those 7 billion people is going to let me manipulate them. That's how a manipulator is going to think. Just being honest. Dr. Noble says, documenting conversations, events, and your feelings provides concrete evidence of manipulation. This record can help you clarify your experiences, offer reassurance, and be a valuable tool if you need further support or validation. Keep those receipts, y'all. Keep them. That don't mean read them. Don't keep mulling over what happened because it might stress you the heck out. But keep the receipts. Have them ready to. I could search this message up right now. You did say this. You did do this. You did. Sometimes that's what you got to do. When you deal with a manipulative person, you got to do the freaking most to avoid having the most done to you. Let me calm down because this issue got me real fired up today. So this article was real helpful. Honestly, it's going to be linked in the description. I want y'all to tell me what y'all think. I want y'all to tell me about an experience that you've had with a gaslighter. And I want you to tell me about a time that you were able to effectively, shut them down. Just shut the gaslighting the heck down. Tell me about it in the comments. That said, there are other ways. There's many ways to deal with manipulators and gaslighters and all that. I don't have enough time in the world to go over all the ways. The article doesn't have enough time to go over all the things that could be done. Which is one reason why I'm going to, again, suggest therapy to people who need more coping skills and how to deal with this stuff. Because they're going to be able to set up a strategy that works best for you and the way that you operate and the way you communicate with people. But that said, thank y'all for listening. Thank you for coming back and tuning in. Thank y'all for running up my subscribers. We need 3 more subs to get to our August goal. 3. The original goal was 10. Y'all got me to 17. Y'all doubled my original goal. I love you guys. I really genuinely, I love y'all. Love y'all. Appreciate y'all. Ooh, the hearts. Have a good one. Bye.